As runners, we all challenge ourselves in ways we never thought possible, pushing the boundaries of what we're capable of to smash through targets and set ourselves new, bigger and better ones.
This awesome hobby that we share gives us one thing in common, and it brings us together as a community. Whether you're working towards completing your first parkrun or you're a veteran of the sport who's run 100 ultra marathons, we all know the feeling of reaching that maxed out effort and our own red line.
Welcome to our podcast, where your hosts Brett Elsmore and Andy Maguire discuss the struggles, the successes and everything in between on our running journeys, as we all work towards the next time we're running the red line. Hello and welcome to episode 39 of Running the Red Line. I am your host Brett, and I am here as always with my co-host Andy. How are you this week, mate?
I'm all right, not bad. I'm trying to smile through the agony of my lost new toy, my drone, which is now a thing of the past. So
it's
combination
a bit gutting, that, isn't it?
It's massively gutting. But it's a combination of, it's one of those things where you can be really annoyed and you can blame the world for your problems. But at the end of the day, it's pilot and user error. I shouldn't really have flown it in the conditions that I flew it in. And subsequently, it flew away. And for anyone who's heard of it, it's called the DJI Neo. And it was marketed for schmucks like me who want to make YouTube videos. And because, you know, I always think this is funny, you know, when a new GoPro comes out or the new anything comes out to do with tech, you see the things, you think, oh my God, wow, that looks amazing. All I've got to do is go swimming with great white sharks and I can get this footage. All I've got to do is, you know, climb Mount Everest and take this drone with me and it will look amazing. So the second that I get anything that's a little bit, you know, to the naked eye, I'll give you a little the reason why it's now in someone's front garden probably, or a farmer's field. Basically, I was up the hills Wednesday morning for my usual Wednesday morning hill run, and there was this beautiful fog lingering over the Malverns. And I shouldn't think like this with a toy camera, basically, but I was just thinking like a filmmaker, and I was thinking this will be an epic shot. I was coming off the top of a hill, coming down. So my idea was get the drone behind me. It's thick fog, and then descend. And then you see the village of Great Malvern, or the Witch Cutting, which is like the village down the bottom of the hill. And then literally the difference between that 20 meters was where the fog was compared to where it was clear. So I thought if I descend and it follows me, it's going to look that's going to look like a really good bit of footage. But what happened was I'm descending, but the drone is staying at the same level. And then all of a sudden I can hear it, because usually you've got a feeling for where it is. Because I've only used it I've only had it 6 weeks or so, but you know when it's behind you. It normally lingers about, 5 meters behind you. I could hear it above me. I was like, that's not a good sign. And I thought it would track me. I thought it would stay at a conservative kind of height in relativity to the ground. I didn't realize it would stay at the same altitude. So it's on top of me, and I could see the camera doing this like it was in Big Brother or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, it's hunting for me. That's not a good sign. Because of the fog, we hadn't got out of it. It couldn't find me. And then this sort of like breeze just started taking it, and it just didn't put up a fight. It just let the breeze take it. And it was like a Wilson moment in Castaway. I just watched my drone sail off really annoyingly, agonizingly slowly, but out of reach through the fog. And I could hear it because it's got this ultra high pitch. I don't know if you've heard of this drone, because it's like it's a really high pitch that it makes. And I just heard it go more and more quiet. and I try to just guess where it would go. But when it's traveling 10 mile an hour and it's the other side of a hill, I've got to run down the hill the other way, guess where it's gone. And, after 15, 20 minutes, it would have landed by then. It could have been anywhere. So it was like a needle in a haystack sort of thing.
I like the way you describe it, that you just watched it disappear slowly, when I know the reality is you weren't stood there watching. You were screaming and probably jumping up and down and trying everything to try and get it back.
This happened to me, almost same scenario, minus the fog, happened to me about a month ago, where I was making a video, put it up in the air, and the wind took it a little bit too far. So quickly, I got my phone out my pocket and I got onto the app and I connected via Wi-Fi, and it connected instantly, and I just pressed land and it landed. So I thought, okay, if that happens again, I can always get the phone out my pocket, quickly connect. And I could still see it, and it wouldn't connect. It was like, it just wouldn't connect. And I was like, if only I could get a signal, I could land it. And so Laura said she couldn't believe how well I took it, but I know I had to play it down, really, because I'm quite bad for letting things like that ruin my life.
Yeah.
And being in a bad mood for the rest of the day. So I kind of tried to take it as well as I could.
I just hope that you managed to find it, just so you can download that footage and watch what you were like.
Yeah.
It's disappearing. That would be the best footage ever.
Yeah, panicking. You'd be able to see the stress. But you never know. It could be found, because Mac was telling me at track the other night. He was, I think it was his mom, actually. His mom came home. I can't remember the story. Basically, in their family, they found a GoPro in the sea when they were on holiday somewhere exotic. I think it was Mexico. And either he was on a family holiday or his mom was. And they brought the GoPro home because they didn't know what to do with it. And Mac got the SD card out of the GoPro, uploaded it, and the guy turned out to be like a YouTuber. And luckily, he did his intro to his YouTube channel, saying, "Hey, I'm Andy. This is my channel, blah, blah, blah." So Mac was like, "I've got your GoPro." And I think he was an American guy or something, maybe. And then he obviously sent it off in the mail, and it was reunited with its owner. So you never know. There could be some honest folk out there, as long as they know how to upload and share the footage, or something like that.
Well, so, fingers crossed. But well, I suppose if Matt can find a GoPro, then you might be able to find a tiny drone. But when the drone's only the size of the palm of your hand, it could be.
I think it's in a field somewhere. It's got to be. What would you have done, right? So would you have? Because this was the thing. You've bear in mind, when it's in the air, you've got about 10 minutes before it emergency lands because it runs out of battery. Would you have looked at the last trajectory that it was taking, guessed where you thought it was going to go, and tried to get to that place as quickly as possible? Or would you have just stood still and hope that it just did a perfect circle?
Ooh, I think I'd have gone with A and tried to chase it.
That's what I did, because now I realized I probably should have done B, but I just thought, I saw the wind taking it, and I thought it would have tried to fight the wind by now, and it's not. It's like a little wimp. It wasn't even putting up a fight against the wind. Yeah. So I went with A, and I went down the hill as fast as I could. And
I've been very tempted by one of those since you bought it. I was very jealous of you having that, and I was very tempted to buy one, but now I'm not so sure. But I've just had a thought in my head that if I do buy one, I'm going to buy an Apple AirTag as well and attach it to it.
What is that, like a GPS tracker?
Yeah. So an Apple AirTag you can put on anything, on your key rings or in your bag or on anything, and you can track it and pinpoint exactly where it is.
Would that alter the performance of the drone, if you know what I mean? Is it heavy? How heavy is it? Like it's the weight of a penny or something?
Disc. It's a tiny little disc about the size of a £2 coin.
And how would it attach? You'd have to just stick it down with some glue.
Yeah, you'd either glue it on or strap it to it. and then you'd always be able to find it.
And this thing never runs out of battery. It's always
it's got a battery in
walking.
it, so it will run out of battery eventually, but it
Yeah.
takes a long time for the battery to run out, and you can replace the battery.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know about that. That would have been a good shout. Because I was trying to do the find my drone thing and it just didn't register. That's what's really annoyed me about this drone. Because I used it, I deliberately bought that drone because I didn't have to have a controller. Because I thought I want as minimal gear as possible to make a maximum amount of epicness. I didn't want to take a blooming whole camera crew up with me, which is why I bought that drone, because you can just turn it on, you press on, and then it literally follows you. But you need optimum conditions. You need hardly any wind. You need bright sunshine. And by the sounds of things, no hills either. But that's annoyed me because it has worked on hills before. It's followed me up and down hills, which made me think it would have been okay through the fog the other day.
But obviously the fog has got in the way of its tracking capabilities, and it's just decided to stay at the level it is because it doesn't realize it's on a hill.
It's what's massively annoyed me is that DJI have allowed this drone for mass production, and it's basically a massive accident waiting to happen, and I'm living proof of that now because you can launch the drone without launching the app, so the flights aren't tracked because the drone DJI think, well, it can't fly above 2 meters or it can't fly above 5 meters in height.
Yeah.
But I launched from a hill. So as soon as that drone moved slightly to the right or the left of the ridge of the Malverns, it was 100 meters above sea level then. And that could have drifted anywhere. And, it's a bit negligent, I think, of DJI. And I probably shouldn't be admitting that I just did that, but here I are. Not the first time on this podcast I've dropped myself in the shite. But but hopefully there's no 737s come down over like Lost style over Malvern. But
this is the thing, you might never find it because it might have been sniped down because it went into a no fly zone somewhere.
Yeah, it could have. But I was trying to think the maximum distance it could have gone. And I do have a radius, a search radius that I want to have a look at, but it's just finding the time to do it. And the thing is, it's not a waterproof thing, so the chances are, I mean, it won't work now by the time I find it. You never know. Someone might find it and be able to at least get the footage off it and be able to find that it was me that was flying it last. So I'm not giving up hope, but I also don't think it's a bad piece of kit. Like I wouldn't deter anyone getting it. Just use it more responsibly than I did. Because I am trying to think like blooming Steven Spielberg, and that's not what it's made for. It's not made for intense, hardy conditions. You need to be able to fly it in controllable conditions, namely not hills. Yeah. So I learned the hard way. But the good thing / bad thing is it was only 170 quid. You can spend thousands on drones now. If it was 1,000 quid, I probably would have my head in my pillow right now, and I wouldn't be coming out of bed. I wouldn't be seeing the light of day. But it was 170 quid, so it's sobering enough for me to think, oh, you idiot, but also enough for me to go, big lesson learned there. So expensive way to do it, but
Well. That is a lesson learned this week.
So when you see my video, fortunately, I didn't film myself after the drone loss, so you won't see my true thoughts and feelings.
Your face would have looked completely different. Really happy and intense, thinking about this beautiful shot you're going to take, and then the next white and tears running down your face.
What was annoying was it was a really good run as well. No, it wasn't. Thinking back, no, it was a really bad run.
Well, it makes it even worse.
Yeah. Oh God. So it was the one where I sort of blooming rolled my ankle as well. So I rolled my ankle about half an hour before doing that. And
please be careful. Please be careful going on these hill runs with your ankles. You've got a marathon to run in about 6 weeks.
I know. So I'm feeling a little bit. I don't know if you've rolled your ankle in the past or recently, but what happens to me is I don't. It's like that kind of feeling straight away, and you start cursing, as bad as when you would lose your drone. And then the day after, that's when I really feel it. It's like the tendon above my ankle bone. I
Have,
can really feel a
have,
tenderness there.
have you given it any rest, or have you just carried on?
I carried on. so so
Dude.
it's fine. But the thing is, there's no soreness. I'd say the pain level is 1 out of 10, 2 out of 10.
Okay.
It's just when I rub my hand over it, just that little bit just above my ankle bone, that goes up towards the back of my calf muscle on the side of my right leg. I can just
Yeah.
feel a little, and that's where the pain signal went up to. But
Yeah.
that's because when you think about your ankle rolling, that's the bit that kind of gives, isn't it?
Yep.
And obviously, if it was any worse than that, because like you've said before, I think I've got glass ankles as well. And but the thing, and do you know what the irony was? I was testing my new freaking shoes out as well. I just bought some new trail shoes, so they're crap as well. And I got home, the Gore-Tex. Got home, feet were soaked. Lost the drone, rolled my ankle, wet feet. Not happy. So terrible day at the office. Terrible.
Oh man.
Oh, so absolutely livid. But apart from that,
Well.
I'm all good, mate. How are you?
Yeah. Get in there. I'm getting there, man. I'm still nowhere near right. My body's just broken proper. But on Tuesday this week, I decided, because I hadn't done it for a few weeks, because obviously while I was ill, I didn't do any running or S&C. And then last week I got back into running, and I was like, I don't want to push it too much. So I just did some running and didn't do any S&C. I know, naughty, but I sacked off the S&C last week. So on Tuesday this week, I thought,
Same as
right,
me.
I need to get back into my S&C. So did my usual and did my run, did the training session, got back to the gym, did my half an hour on the cross trainer, and then did my half an hour of S&C. And then on Wednesday, I felt a bit tight, and I thought, okay, I can tell I've done my S&C again and my session. And then on Thursday, the DOMs kicked in. Oh man, I woke up on Thursday morning. I was walking like a cowboy.
Really,
It
that
was,
bad?
yeah. All the inside of my thighs, like my hip flexors and everything, had proper like taken a beating, and man, they were so sore. So going down to session last night was interesting. I only did half the
Yeah.
session because my legs just didn't feel all there.
So do you not normally get DOMs then from your S&C sessions?
No, because this is the thing. If you keep up the S&C each week and you're doing it regularly, then your body gets used to that feeling, and you don't get DOMs as much because you are doing it regularly. Same as running. If you run regularly, you won't get as much DOMs as you do if you have a week off and then try and start again. You get it real bad. So it's the same with the S&C. But because I'd had just over 2 weeks off of doing S&C, man, I hadn't used those muscles for a couple of weeks, and it really, really kicked in.
Yeah. So what state are the lungs in then post COVID?
The lungs feel perfect now. They feel really good. Yeah,
Cough's gone and all that.
Yeah,
And...
cough's completely gone. The only thing I'm doing every now and then now is just clearing my throat, because it's like something's backing up in there and stuff. But like physically, I feel perfect now. It's just my body and all the muscles and everything else just feel broken, and I feel like an even older man than I am.
There's nothing like having a virus that completely wipes you out, is there? It's just it's like hitting the reset button, isn't it? And like your first few runs after being really ill, you forget how you've ever got to where you were. Like you look at your watch and you think, am I really doing this pace, or is my heart rate really at this level
Yeah.
Now, what's going on? And it's crazy, isn't it? Like, I think when I had COVID in June when it was late May, June, I honestly think it took me about 8 weeks, I think, to fully flush it out. Because I just felt like it was hanging around like a bad smell.
Yeah.
So it really is a horrible little thing, isn't it? And it seems to be
Yeah.
everywhere at the moment.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think flu's going round as well at the same time. So I think there's a
Yeah.
mixture of COVID and flu going around because people are going down with something, but it's not bad like COVID. And then there's
Yeah.
people who are getting like bad, but not really bad, and then people who are getting proper hit by it. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think there's a bit of everything going around at the moment. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm feeling much better. Lungs and my chest and everything feels great now. I just need to build that fitness back up, and hopefully my legs return back to normal.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Hopefully, because I'll need to borrow you and your legs on Sunday.
I know, yeah. But
So I was going to say just quickly on the subject of illnesses and viruses and being completely wiped out. I was going to talk about the Neal brothers because we've
oh
got
yes,
we could we could mention all three of them. Why not? So
yeah,
that I was going to say about Dan because I saw on his Strava, Dan Neal, that I think he had norovirus. Does that sound?
yes, yeah.
Yeah, and
So
was he due to do York
he was. So
with
him
Ad?
and
Yeah,
Ad were going to run York together, and
yeah.
when I saw Ad this week, I congratulated him and asked him how Dan had done. He went, "Oh yeah, Dan didn't run it because he had norovirus in the week running up, and he just wasn't feeling 100%. So he decided to just spectate instead. He took all his
Oh,
kit and everything up to York, so if he was feeling up to it, he could run it, but
yeah.
he just wasn't feeling right.
Probably
So,
a sensible decision, man. Because
oh
like,
yeah,
if it's a 10K or a half marathon, you could maybe just about wing that. But
yes,
marathon takes no
yeah,
prisoners when you're ill.
no,
When you've been seriously, and when you've had a virus as well, you've been completely cleaned out.
yeah.
You don't want to be on. You don't want to be running a.
And it's a risk as well
Yeah,
for your health. I mean,
yeah,
when you're fully 100% fit, a marathon proper hits your body and like fatigues it, and like your recovery after a marathon when you're fully fit is hard. So if you go and do it when you're not 100%, it's going to knock you for 6. So
yeah.
it was a very sensible decision not to run it.
Yeah, well, if you're listening, Dan, we hope you're making a full recovery and you hope you're well,
Yeah,
and hope you're back to full fitness and fighting weight soon. And I know that
yeah.
Leggett
Uh-huh.
Lee, is back in the game today. I
He
saw on
is.
his Instagram. It's like his
Yes.
first session back, and I saw he's running like 5:30s a mile or something.
Yeah, yeah. He was doing 600s down Abbey Stadium track.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he went down, and I think I saw his session was 15-minute warm up, 5 times 600 meters, and then a 10-minute warm down. And all of his 600 meters were like, I think he did his first couple in 5:40 pace, so it was like just
Yeah.
over 2 minutes for a 600. So yeah, he's even though he's only just come back and he is getting back into his sessions, he's still running a decent pace, so he'll be back
Yeah.
on it before we know it.
Yeah, because he's had a fair bit of time away from running, hasn't he? So
Yeah.
yeah, stay dangerous, brother. So
Yeah.
love it. And yeah, Ad. Should we mention Ad, or should we save him to a little bit later?
I reckon, yeah. Let's do it now. Let's congratulate him and on an absolutely amazing debut marathon.
Yeah.
He absolutely smashed it out of the park. So he went up to York. He did his what was it? 18-week training block. I think he's done, and he's
Right.
properly put himself into it. He has followed the training to a T, hit all of his paces, took it so seriously. His eating's been really clean. His S&C routine has been really good, and it's paid off big time. So he went up there. His original aim was a 3:30, and then
Yep.
he changed his goal, his target time, as he was hitting better paces through his training. and he ended up running a 3:18 and 16 seconds. So his first ever marathon, and he runs a sub 3:20.
And York is hard as well. York is not one of the easier ones in the country.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple of beastly hills, especially that one at the end. So yeah, that's an amazing performance, Has. Like,
I tell you what, he ran it so well as well. He was proper sensible out of the block, and he went through halfway. And as soon as he went through halfway, he picked up the pace and ran the rest of it. So he must have negative split, because looking at his splits throughout the miles, he picked up the pace big time. And he told me, he went, "Oh, those last couple of miles though, oh man, I really felt it. I really struggled." And I was like, well, the last 6 miles, the last 10K of any marathon is tough. So the fact that you only started to really feel it on the last couple of miles is incredible. So yeah,
well done, Adam. So that's Adam Neal. If anybody wants to go and find him on Strava and see how well he did, but and an amazing advert as well for AI running coaching. So we'd mentioned it before, because we've never used Runner or anything like that, but obviously Ad has been using it for over 4 months now. And he's obviously really got on really well with it. So
I was saying, I was hoping that the sessions that the Runner app had given him weren't too much, and I was hoping he hadn't burnt himself out by hitting the paces and the sessions that it's set him, because some of them were big sessions. But he's taken it in his stride and absolutely smashed it. So fair play, Ad.
That's the dream, I think. So I haven't quite yet thought of my race plan for Valencia, but I'm leaning towards even splits with a view to going a little bit quicker at the end if I can. So I'd love to negative split, because we all would. That's the dream race, the dream way to run any race, especially a marathon. But I feel like if I have it in my head that I'm going to negative split, I'm worried that I'll not start out too slow and not being able to recover. But I've always got that worry that I will, struggle towards the end anyway.
Yeah.
So the dream for me would be to get to 23 miles or 35K, and then be able to just do my fastest 5K of the day.
What you want to do, go out at pace for the time that you want to hit. So go through halfway on an even split, and then get to 20 mile, or what's that, 32K, 10K to go, and just go for it, smash it. That's what you want to do. Leave it all out there in the last 10K. Do not do it before that point.
Yeah. That you can't go too early, can you?
No.
So I think that would probably be the one I'm leaning towards, or the way I'm leaning towards, because as far as I know, there aren't any hills to navigate. There might be a couple of sort of bridges to go over, as there often are in city marathons, but I think that's it. I don't think there's anything. I think Valencia is known as one of the fastest courses in the world. Because it's had some records run on it and in the past, and
that's where Kelvin Kiptum smashed onto the scene, wasn't it?
Yeah, Valencia. Didn't he run a 2:03 or something, or 2:02?
No, I think it was even quicker than that. Yeah, I think it was a 2:02 for his first ever marathon at Valencia.
Yeah. So, and I'm also hoping that as well. I'm thinking it will be a very crowded course. I'm fully expecting a bit of a stressful morning and a bit of a stressful start, because I imagine it will be a very, very busy start. But I'm also hopeful that there's some runners that I can maybe have a chat with, or just get a feel of, and find out if anyone's running 3:20, because there won't be a pacer for 3:20.
Yeah, but that finish on that blue carpet is going to be incredible, mate.
I can't wait. I genuinely keep visualizing that blue carpet, and I'm just beyond excited for it. And I've got something. Just while I think about it, we can chat about this in a bit. Should you train for a flat marathon using hills? Because someone the other day said on my YouTube channel, they said, fortunately, Valencia has no hills.
Yeah.
I think they were kind of saying, you don't need to be doing all this hill training. That's what I think they were saying.
Uh-huh.
So we can discuss that in a bit as well, because
Yes.
it's a new thing I've never done. So
yeah, I have I do have an opinion on that. So
yeah. Well, let's chat about that now then. So
okay. So quickly before we go into that, I just wanted to say that I'm going to give you the same advice as I gave to Ad before York. So I sent Ad a good luck message before he ran York Marathon, and I said, if you go through halfway and it feels too slow, you're probably going too fast.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you want it to still feel easy all the way up to that 20-mile marker.
Yeah. That's not halfway. Halfway is not halfway, is it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's grand advice. Because don't people say it's the easiest 20 mile of your life followed by the hardest 10K?
Yeah. Well, it's a 20-mile warm up for a 10K race.
That's the one. That's what your famous little quote is. Yeah. 20-mile warm up for the 10K race. Because it's so true, isn't it? That last 10K. How many people's marathons have gone really, really well up until 20 miles? Professionals,
that's where it
you
all
see
falls apart. Yeah.
You see elites doing it, and it's such a it's such a difficult thing to master. And that's in many ways why I've really enjoyed doing these hard half marathons, Worcester and then Cardiff. And then you and I have got this, I've got this 10K, hard 10K on Sunday, and the 5Ks that I've done at Parkrun and stuff, because it's just practice of getting 3/4 of the way through something and wanting to just jack it in and throw the towel in because it's all feeling too hard. But saying to yourself, no, you've trained for this, you're capable of it, and you've got more. Yeah. And that's one thing I was going to ask you to say to me at kilometer 8 or mile 5 on Sunday. You've got more, Andy. You've got more, because we all have, especially at that time of the race or that time of the run.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'll be encouraging. I always am.
You always are, just so friendly and so happy and so smiley. I don't know what you're going to come out with this Sunday, but I'm sure you've got a few lined up already.
Yeah. Also, talking about Valencia, I see that the Will is back up and training to full capacity again. So hopefully he can get a good training block in and smash out that sub 3.
Yeah.
In Valencia, fingers crossed.
I quite like what he's doing as well. He's not been, as far as I know anyway, he's not been filming his training or anything, but he's been keeping a blog.
Yes.
And if you go on the Woo's Instagram account, I'm pretty sure there's a link to it, or I'm sure he'll link to it.
I think it's the woorunning.com, I think.
Oh, it's on his website. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he's been keeping a weekly blog of how things are going, or certainly the last few weeks. And it's really interesting. It's a really good read, because I'm so accustomed to just watching stuff on screens now. And it's just actually quite nice to read through something that's had a lot of care and attention been put into it. And there's no waffle. It's all straight to the point. And it's good stuff. So I hope that I get a chance to see Will out there, because I've still not met him.
No, you haven't, have you? Face to face? No. Yeah, he's a good man. He's a good man. Yeah.
Well, going back to that original point then, about hills, because as everybody knows, I just can't do S&C. I'm such a loser. I literally can't do it. I just can't. I try, but I just can't. And for me, the closest I can get to S&C is hills, because if I trained on the flat all the time and there was no resistance anywhere apart from maybe the odd bit of rain or wind, I think you're missing something vital there. And that would be gravity, because I think fighting gravity and even running hard downhill sometimes is really helpful, I think, because you're strengthening the quads, and on the way up, you're strengthening the calves and the hammies. And For me, the one thing that I've done differently this training block is, I mean, it's all serendipitous with my house move, because where I live now, there's basically hills everywhere, so it's obviously a little bit of a happy accident. But I could have just driven down to my old routes down by the river and kept running those old routes, those flatter routes. But I've really enjoyed trying my best to just do the hills as well as I can, and I feel like hills pay the bills, man.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. A lot of people say you should train for the terrain. So you should train for what is coming. And while, yes, I do agree with that, especially if you're going to run a hilly marathon or you're going to run a race which is on trail, you should definitely be working on those. But when it comes to a flat marathon, I don't think that just training on the flat gives you the work that's needed in the training block to be able to succeed properly in the race. As you say, hill training is strength training in disguise. There is, if you don't do much S&C, hills are one of the best ways to get your S&C in. Because it is going to work out every muscle in your legs. It's going to work out your hamstrings and your glutes and your calves on the way up. It's going to work out your quads on the way down. The only thing you've got to be careful of is when it comes to a marathon, because it is a very long race, it will find your weaknesses very easily. And I know quite a few people who have done flat or slightly net downhill marathons, and because they did most of their training on hills, their quads went towards the end of the marathon because they hadn't trained their quads enough for the downhill or the flatness of the race. And when it got to the hard bits, their quads went, and it was their quads that were really starting to like play up for them during the end of the race, and it affected their time and their ability to finish the race strong because their quads weren't strong enough. So I think, yes, train up hills, but also, as you say, you've got to work on that downhill as well. So you're getting a full workout of the legs, and it's not just the one way. So you can't run up the hills and then just walk down the hills. You've actually got to jog the hills down or work on going downhill to build up that strength in the quads as well.
One thing that I found difficult as well, especially now I'm 10 weeks or 11 weeks into training, is I'm not hitting paces for my long runs. And it's sometimes a little bit soul destroying, because I'm a marathon pace, especially early on in a session, should be not easy to hit, but you should be able to at least run a 2K block or a couple of mile. But there are times when I just literally can't, because there are hills that are slowing me down. I know the effort is there.
That's what I was going to say. Are you hitting marathon effort though?
I think so. I'll probably go beyond it.
Well, that's honest. Right then, isn't it?
But it's a little bit soul destroying, especially if you're a numbers man. Where, like, I probably wouldn't say I'm a number cruncher like maybe a lot of other people are. But if you're number obsessed, it can be a little bit. That could be a reason for you not to avoid hills.
Yeah.
Because once you see your numbers going south, going like when you're getting slower, you can think, oh, I'm not doing so well. But as soon as you realize, but you're compensating with effort.
Yeah.
That's the trade-off, isn't it? So I've got to just remember that these numbers in training maybe aren't representative of the effort I'm putting in, but I'm aware of that, and I'm trying to hit the marathon paces no matter what's in front of me. Now, I don't know if that's blind stupidity or if that's quite clever. I will find out on Valencia race day.
That's the way I always work. I run to pace, don't I? I don't run to heart rate or anything like that. I run to what pace am I running?
Yeah, I think I'm the same. Yeah.
So for Manchester, I did well. every one of my Sunday long runs in my training block for Manchester were on the hills, because every route from my house is on hills. So I'm going up and down hills constantly on every training run. There isn't really a flat training run I possibly could if I went down a really boring route. But where I go, and it's nice to look at and nice to run in, is all hills. So I did all of my training for Manchester on the hills. And then Manchester, there are no hills in Manchester.
Yeah.
Manchester's pretty flat. So did I need to do all that hill training? Probably not. But did it improve my ability to run Manchester? I think so. And I wouldn't change anything of what I did. I wouldn't change my training to go back. I wouldn't go back to the start of the year and change it so I did all my training on the flat, because Manchester's pretty flat. I would keep my training exactly like it was.
But the thing is, right, I don't know if the new start and finish, or is it only the finish will start?
I think the finish is different now, yeah.
But let's just say 97% of Manchester is flat. But how many people's marathons did that 3% destroy? Mine included. Because I probably didn't have enough in my legs to get up that hill. And by the time I did, I think I was done. If I'd have done more work on hills for that flat marathon, because there's no such thing as a flat marathon. There's always going to be rises and falls.
Yeah.
Unless you're running on treadmill. I generally don't think there's any such thing as a flat marathon, if you're going to get technical about it. But I think that if I'd done more hill stuff, I mean, I was a little bit younger in my sort of training and running days then, so shouldn't beat myself up too much. But I just don't believe anymore when someone tells me something's flat, because everyone said Cardiff's flat. Oh, but by the way, at 12 miles, there's a real big hill. Well, it's not flat then, is it?
Yeah.
So like, and also when you get something in your head, you think it's flat, so therefore it's easy. It's not. It's still
a
flat 5K is not easy, because it's the hard 5K that's the hard bit.
Yeah.
It's the distance that's just as hard, and the intensity. So
if you're doing a flat marathon like Valencia, and you are religious with your S&C, and you are working all of your leg muscles and your body to have that strength and conditioning for the distance, then great, do all your training on flat. Don't worry about it. But if you're not doing that much S&C, or you haven't got time for it, or it just doesn't float your boat, or whatever, hills are a great substitute. And you'll the training benefit you'll get from hills will be so beneficial. It's unbelievable.
Well, I've just looked at it. Okay, that's made me feel a bit better. So the Trinidad, what's it called? The Valencia Trinidad Marathon, or whatever it's called, has an elevation gain of 76 meters. Now that's about the same amount as the Worcester City Half that we did. So that is pretty much next to nothing, to be honest. And once you've trained on hills, you kind of have like this. You're not scared of them anymore, or not as much as you used to be, or you don't get so feared of them, I guess. And that's why I think I enjoyed Cardiff so much, because fortunately Tommy D had told me all about that hill at 12 miles at Cardiff, and I knew it was there, but I was able to get up it, and it didn't spoil my day, because I feel like I've done some hill work. And I think hitting some of the hills locally at marathon pace, or at least that effort, really helped me get up that hill at 12 miles, because now I don't hit hills easy anymore, or all the time like I used to. I used to give hills way too much respect. It was always easy on the way down, on the way up, and then fast on the way down. But now it's hard on the way up and harder on the way down.
Yeah.
So because I used to worry too much about going flat out on hills, but now it's just a case of putting the work in and getting up there and
not only does it improve your strength in your legs, though, it also improves your aerobic ability, because you're having to work harder. So once you're getting up those hills, you're then having to recover quicker from those hills because you're still trying to keep those paces. So it's improving that aerobic ability. So then when you take away the hill, you'll be able to go for longer at a faster speed.
So you're like the Killian Jornet of Redditch. So you'll be qualified to answer this. But do you think the cadence of hill running matters immensely, or do you think it's finding your own style? Should you change the way you approach hills at race pace?
I don't think you should consciously change the way you run hills, but you should possibly, it should be automatic, but your stride length should shorten and the cadence should increase when you are going uphill. Because if you're taking long strides uphill, it's harder to get uphill. I think that's why I like hills so much, because my stride is so short and my cadence is high. It's a bit like in the Tour de France, there was a big shift in the way that people went up hills during the race, and it all started with Lance Armstrong. And yes, I know he was doing a bit of doping, but he changed the way that people thought about hills in cycling races. And what everybody used to do was have it in a hard gear and grind up the hills and just really push themselves up the hills. And that's the way that they always did it. But what he did was put it into the lowest gear, so it was the easiest to pedal, and then just improve and up the cadence. So it was more of an aerobic thing rather than a strong muscular thing. And he just flew up the hills because he was taking he was doing more revolutions per minute and on an easier setting. And that's similar to running. If you shorten your stride and improve the cadence, you'll get up that hill rather than slogging it with longer strides and really grinding up the hills.
Because I think there's a tendency, isn't there, to see a hill, especially if you're at race pace as well, you want to literally stride out and hit those long strides. But I guess that's counterproductive depending on the length of the hill and the gradient of it. It probably is.
If you think about it as well, though, you can take longer strides on the flat because it's flat. So to get your foot out in front of you, it's just striding longer on the flat, and you can just pick your foot up at the normal height. But as soon as you make it a hill, you can't stride out as far without having to pick your foot up even further. So if you shorten your stride, then you're still only lifting your foot the same height as you normally are running.
I don't know if I consciously make a difference to the way that I run, but I think it's an effort thing, isn't it? I think you've just got to keep, just only you can measure it really with effort, and you know if you're overexerting, don't you? And I think if you are, then there's a chance that you might be not trying too hard, but maybe look at shortening that stride. I've just looked, by the way, while we were chatting, at the elevation of the map elevation of Valencia. Look at this. It's just dead straight. I mean, there is a bit of a nasty hill at 18 miles. Look.
Really nasty. Oh, look how nasty that is.
It's about 4 meters.
So I think you're doing the right thing by training on hills, because number one, it's going to make running on flat feel easier. Number two, it's giving you that strength training that you are not doing each week.
Fair.
So
Yeah.
So how has training gone this week? How's it all looking?
A little bit weird, to be honest, because here sat right now, I am at quite a high volume, and I've only had 3 running days. It's Friday, and I've done 62k, which is about 40 miles, I think, something like that. So my first day, and I've done a 30.6k one day, a 19.5k another day, and 12.5 the first day. So the first day was Monday, and this is after we chatted about easy pace from the podcast.
Yes.
So I decided to push the easy pace a bit and see how it felt. And I did. So I pushed it 20 seconds faster a kilometer, which is probably about 30 seconds plus per mile. Still easy, or what I hoped would be easy, but I was, like you were saying, I was running to pace. Did a local 12.5k loop and ran pretty much even splits, apart from one, which is a slightly slower one. And heart rate didn't get above 145, so they're my splits, so fairly even.
Good.
But I did feel a little bit more creaky than usual the day after an easy run. So because my easy pace was faster, my heart rate was still under 150. I was still in zone 2 according to Garmin.
But was that?
I did feel like it was more of a workout.
So was that on Monday?
Yes.
And it was after your Sunday long run?
Which was a 30k, the day before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So why weren't you doing a recovery run? Why were you doing an easy run?
Felt all right. I felt like I am feeling paranoia already.
Yeah.
And I feel like I know I can see you shaking your head already, but I feel like everything's got to be a little bit quicker. And especially after the chat we had the other night, because I feel like I'm running out of time. I've only got 6 weeks.
No.
I know.
There's no way of squeezing extra training into a training block. What you've set yourself as training for a training block is what you need to do. You can't squeeze any more in there because you will then overtrain. And overtraining is worse than undertraining because you're just going to burn yourself out and get to that start line not only feeling crap, but not in a position to even run well.
Well, fortunately, I woke up on that Monday morning after the 20-something I'd done the day before. 26 I did, so 15, 16 miles with Rich and Mac the day before. Because by the way, the 2 days before that, I didn't mention. So Saturday, went down to Bournemouth again. And then afterwards, went for a run afterwards in the New Forest again. Fell over twice. Absolutely brilliant falling, like proper comedy. Like I felt like I was in the song Make 'Em Laugh from Singing in the Rain. It was proper comical, especially my first one. I literally aquaplaned through a puddle.
I know you said
fell on my arse.
You hope you got some on camera. Did you actually get some on camera of the falling?
The second one, I was filming myself, and what I did was I'd come down a little hill and had to go back up, but because of all the biblical rainfall we'd had in the last 24, 48 hours, it had all collected in the middle, and it was like a little stream. So I thought, right, I'll just get my feet wet, get my ankles wet. I'll go through this stream. Put my left foot in, first step. Second, my right foot was going to be the last step. My second step went down about 4 foot. I was like, I didn't realize it was going to be that deep. So I fell straight on my face, fortunately on the bank, like the other side of the stream.
Yeah.
But I captured that, but I don't think that really tells the whole story of how stupid that fall was. But anyway, I did that. I was just an easy 5 or 6K, and then got absolutely, it was like a cross-country course. You would have absolutely loved it. You would have just been in your element. And then got in the car, drove back, and then Sunday was a long run day, and I was going to do 30, but I ended up only doing 26, and that was a session day. So I did trying to do some marathon pace.
Yeah,
I tried to do 2 easy again, pushing the easy pace a bit quicker, and then I did 1 sort of like not a pyramid, but like I did 4 progressions and then came back to easy and then progressed. Did 4 sets of that. And at the top of the pyramid or at the top of the progression, I was doing 2 marathon pace Ks. And some of them I hit, some of them I didn't. And that was a good run.
Yeah. See, that Sunday is when your easy pace should have been your easy pace. But on the Monday, you should have at least started that run at your recovery pace.
Yeah, probably should have. But I just felt all right on Monday morning.
I know you felt all right, but you've just told me at the end of the run you felt like you were pushing a bit hard for easy pace. So what does that tell you?
I realised that on Tuesday. I realised that I felt a bit.
What does that tell you? Well, no,
should have gone quicker.
You told me on Monday. You messaged me on Monday and said I felt like I was having to push a little bit harder than I normally do for easy pace.
What are you, a private investigator? You're a detective.
I am. Yeah,
bringing up all my dirty laundry in court.
Yeah. I don't want you fibbing to people.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was. It was a case of I thought I was probably fresher than I was, to be honest. And in hindsight, probably should have cooled it down a little bit. But I wanted it to be an only easy run. I didn't want to do. I mean, what I should have probably done was, like you said, done half of it or the first 2 or 3 miles or Ks at recovery pace and then eased into it. But I actually quite enjoyed it. I actually felt there were times when I was coming up and over hills, I was looking at my heart rate and I was in like the low 140s. I was like, what's going on here? I'm running sort of like 8:45s. What would that be? About 8:30, 8:45 miles, 5:30, 5:15s. I was like, oh man, this is dangerous because I'm actually feeling okay. So probably should have done a recovery session then, but I didn't. But anyway, I had a day off Tuesday, and then Wednesday was the day it all went wrong. So Wednesday, I did a hill run Wednesday, and it was. I wanted to challenge myself for this Wednesday morning. I wanted to I don't know what it is, but you just want to just wake up and you just want to do something really tough. So I was going to do 10 or 12K of hills, but I lost the drone at 8K and I just thought no. So I called my taxi. I called Laura and she came and got me. And I was, and then I didn't speak all the way home. Sulked. And then I pretended I was okay with it. But I went up my normal route up in Malvern, but then I went higher than I normally go. So I don't know what I was thinking. And then I went up and over. I went up a hill called North Hill, which is, a bit of a brute. Then I went over Sugarloaf Hill. Then I went up to the Beacon as usual. Then I came down the Beacon. I went down the Witch Cutting and then up to Perseverance Hill, up to Jubilee Hill, turned round. And that's when I was in the fog. And that's when I lost my drone. And before, so by the way, I ran in my new trail shoes, which are my Nike Peg Trail Gore-Tex 5s. Not Gore-Tex at all. I should have learned my lesson from the 4s. They're comfortable, but they're not Gore-Tex because my feet, unless it's my feet sweating, I can't tell. But they're comfortable, which is annoying because I really wanted to hate them completely, but they're really quite, because they've got this foam, which is called React X, which is a new foam I've not heard of.
It's a new softer compound of their React foam that they normally put in the pegs.
Yeah, and it was actually really quite nice. But I can't really blame the shoes for going over on my ankle because, the Malverns are just so uneven sometimes. And I don't know about you, but when it's windy, do you get like teary eyes? Because I'm terrible for getting tears in my eyes. And it always happens at the Malverns at the wrong time when I'm running down a hill. And then I tried to sidestep some sort of rock that was buried on the path and just went over on it. But that was my 8K done. So that was Wednesday morning.
I tell you I did get a teary eye the other day. I can't remember when it was. I think it was possibly the end of last week. I ran. It was evening, so it was getting dusk. And I ran past a bush and there was a long branch with leaves on sticking out, which I didn't quite notice, and I didn't close my eye in time, so it just brushed across my eyeball, and then for the rest of the run I just had a teary eye for the whole run. It was horrible.
That must have been a weird sensation.
It was like somebody had slapped me in the eyeball, because obviously I was running past it and it just slapped me straight across.
That's weird. Oh God. Yeah, when was the last time you had your eyeball slapped? You can probably pay for that sort of thing. So yeah, that was my Wednesday morning run done. Bit of a shocker, because normally I can get up and down those hills a lot more easily, but I just couldn't. Maybe it was because of the fake easy run I did on Monday.
Yeah, possibly.
So yeah, all seemed to go wrong for me Wednesday, but I did another 2 10Ks that day. So the next, we went to the theatre. We went to watch Dear Evan Hansen.
What was that like?
We would give it probably about a 7 or 8 out of 10.
As a musical or as a production of the musical? Because
as a production, the musical's phenomenal.
I was going to say, because the music is incredible. Yeah, the soundtrack to the original Broadway performance is so good.
So it was in parts. I mean, it's basically high school kids. So maybe this was all part of the plan. I don't know. But there were just bits that looked a bit GCSE. It's a bit weird. Like some of the blocking was a bit weird. This musical is a musical for singers, not dancers. And some of the ensemble, I don't think were dancers, and they were given roles to dance to. And some of the dances just looked a bit sort of, didn't need to be there. And it was more verging on physical theatre rather than dance. And it was just all a bit weird for me, for my taste. And to add insult to, not injury, that's the wrong term, but to make things slightly more annoying, because we really wanted to be completely wowed by this show. We were in the balcony and the grand upper circle of the Alexandra in Birmingham. And I'm not joking, it must have been close to like 40 degrees up there. It was like a sauna. They had the heating on. Couldn't believe it. So, that was an absolute shocker. Yeah. So, when you're like trying to keep your eyes open as well, because you're so like...
Yeah. And it's so steep right up there, isn't it? You
are so high up
looking down. Yeah, I went to see Heather's there, and I was right up in the grand upper circle, and it's a fair old distance down to the stage.
It's a little bit like booking flights in the middle of the night. When you booked them 6 months ago, warm in your bed or on your sofa watching blooming Lorraine, whatever, you're thinking, that's not going to be too bad. Flying at 10:30 at night, landing at 1 a.m. But when you actually do it, it's a terrible idea. It's awful. It's the worst idea in the world, because you land, you've got to wait for your bag. If you're delayed, you've got to drive home. You don't think about that sort of stuff. Yeah. It's a bit like booking theatre tickets. Don't book them in the grand upper circle. Just pay an extra 20 quid. Don't be a tight ass. So I won't do that again. And I'll book more expensive seats and sit towards the bottom. But anyway, so we got back from the theatre just in time. I got dropped off at track. Laura dropped me off at track. And then I did 10K on the track and then ran home. So in total, it was a 30K day. So it was, and track was pretty intense as well. I think we did we do 600s? I can't remember what the session was now. It was 800s, 90 seconds rest, and then 1 kilometer marathon effort, and then a 200 jog recovery times 2. So it was, it was a fairly long session, but I hit all the paces, quite enjoyed it.
Good.
And then ran home. So I did, this was a recovery pace. It was like closer to that 6 minute, 30-minute 5K.
Good. So it should be after a hard session.
And then I got my head torch out and went ran home. And I can't remember the last time I ran on my own late at night through the pitch black. And it was a combination between this is awesome and this is actually quite boring, because I really enjoy just scenery, anything. I think I've got a little bit of a. I think Laura's diagnosed me with ADD. She thinks I've got ADD. So anything that is remotely not interesting, I can switch off really quickly. Yeah. And I found the whole run quite Yeah, quite dull. Well, it was pitch black. That's why it was dull.
Yeah.
I really struggled to tune into it, if you know what I mean. So kudos to anyone that has to or enjoys darkness running, because I don't think it's for me,
Yeah.
in all honesty.
Talking of running in the dark, it's just reminded me of something. So on Monday, I run up to my shop to do some work and then run back as like my easy recovery day. And on the way back, it was a bit too dark to run down the like the road from my shop. I do sometimes. I put my head torch on, and it's pretty scary running down there because it is completely pitch black, and the only thing you can see is whatever your lights on. So it's a bit too dark. So I thought I'll get a lift to the end of the road. So I managed to get a lift to the end of the road, and I thought, right, I'm going to go and do my run. So I went a bit further out than I normally do, and I was running through. Where was I? I was running through Headley's Cross, one of the town bits, and there was a lad walking in front of me on the same side of the road, so on the same bit of pavement. And I thought I'll go a bit wider to run round him, and he must have been either in his own little world or he must not have heard my footsteps until I was right close to him.
Yeah.
But as I got within like 2 steps of him, he turned round and put his fists up like this.
No.
And he was fully balaclavaed up. So I'm not sure where he was going or what he was doing, but he was like in pounce mode. And he turned around, put his fists up, and I could just see his eyes through his balaclava. And I went, "Oh, sorry, man." And he went, "Oh, no, sorry. I didn't hear you then, didn't hear you." And I went, "Oh no, I'm really sorry." And he went, "No, it's all good. And I just carried on running. But it got him into fight or flight mode, and he was proper in fight mode.
Yeah, it's like, mate, why are you wearing a balaclava? What are you doing? Well, that doesn't look intimidating or dodgy, does it? If I was a copper.
I know, it was mad. But yeah, that was slightly interesting. Yeah.
Oh, it is funny when you spook someone, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, because you don't want to be that guy that goes, "Hello, excuse me." You know, you don't want to be that guy.
Exactly. But yeah, I properly shook him up to the point where he was ready to throw down.
God, that could have ended up really differently, couldn't it? Wow.
I know, but yeah. Yeah.
And by the way, I did one more run, and that was the end of my week. I did a 20k easy day after Thursday, because I've had to basically front load everything because we're doing the 10k on Sunday. So I've got no long run this week, or my long run was sort of yesterday, which was 20k with Daisy, but that was that was all easy. That was all everything was back to the old sort of easy pace, and that was a nice easy one. And then nothing today. Tomorrow is just going to be a nice 5k, maybe a warm up around the woods, because I'm going to do Worcester Woods, but I'm going to do that super slow. Well, not slow, but I'm going to do that super like chilled.
Yeah.
And then we go on Sunday into the trenches.
Yes.
AKA Ara Valley for the race, the 10k race.
Yes. Where we are going to run sub 42 minutes, aren't we?
I wouldn't say I'm confident.
No, we are going to run sub 42 minutes, aren't we?
Yeah, we are going to run sub 42. So I think you said on the podcast last week it's 4:12s I've got to aim for, which is about
6:47s.
Okay.
So I'm going to run at my marathon pace for you, which is 6:40s, which will get you in under 42 minutes.
Why is it getting faster? Why is everything getting... So hang on, what's a 6:40 10k? It's going to be like 21 and a half, 41 and a half.
I don't know. Hang on, 2 seconds.
You shouldn't have told me that, because I probably just
I know. I know. I probably shouldn't have told you that.
It's just running your 5k pace for 10k.
I'm going to set off at my PB 10k pace and see if you can come with me. Hang on. 6:40s will get us in at 6:40s will be. It might be a bit quick. That's a 41:25. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's go. Oh, all right, then let's go 6:45s, and that'll bring us in 41:57.
How about I give you a signal at 5 mile or 4 miles, and if it's feeling good, no, that could still go all wrong, couldn't it? 5 mile, I'll say 6:40s to you, and you can
Yeah.
do the last mile a bit quicker for me,
But
and I'll
but
just
at,
try and hang on.
but at 5 mile is the point where I go, come on, Andy, you've got more in you. Everybody's got more in you.
So, all right, say it at 5.5. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it because I don't run 10Ks very often. I think I worked out the other day on my boring pitch black run the other day. I worked out that I've run more marathons than 10Ks races. So I
Amazing.
have done maybe Bourton on the Water, Cheltenham, and Redditch, I think.
And the two castles.
And the two castles, yeah. Okay. So I think I've done 4, 5, 6 at the most. And I think I've done 6 marathons. So yeah, it's a distance I run all the time, but I never run it hard. So
Yeah.
compared to a 5K or a half or a marathon, it's like it's a distance. It is a little bit like the unknown for me, which is I neglect it a lot. So anything could happen. Anything could happen on Sunday. I don't know. So I'm just hoping that it doesn't feel too hard because obviously a 10K effort is not comfortable, but it's not like at your limit from the get-go, is it? So yeah, I'm hoping that because our valley's fairly
You can run a
decent course.
21-minute 5K pretty okay now, can't you?
It was only recently that I was struggling to do a 21.5, but then I would say, I'd still require a fair bit of effort to do that.
Yeah, but on a good day, you could do 21 minutes without really pushing it full throttle.
Yeah, I think I could, yeah.
So we've got to do that twice. So
yeah,
that's good because it's not full throttle, which is where it should be.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm a little bit nervous, but also a little bit like, whatever happens.
Yeah.
Because it's
exactly.
10K. It's not a goal race. It's just let's go out there and see. And it's my last. It's going to be my last hard effort before Valencia. Really. Well, I might do another 5K effort. I think I will. But it's going to be my last lot. I mean, I'd class anything over 25 minutes as a bit of an effort, a bit of a hard effort, really. So it's my last sort of longish hard effort before Valencia. So yeah, I'm excited for to see what happens. And
should be good.
Yeah, should be good.
Should be good. Yeah. Well, this week,
tell us about your week. Yeah.
Well, this week I've as I say, I'm getting there. It's just my legs just aren't 100%. So we did. I've done a decent amount of mileage. I did far too many miles on Tuesday. I ended up getting out of the house a bit earlier than I normally do. So I ended up doing 4 mile before I even got down to session. Then we did a 2 mile warm up. Then we did a hill rep session, which ended up being about 4 miles of running. And then we did 2 miles back to the gym. Then I did my cross trainer. Then I did my S&C. And then I did 2 miles home. So I ended up doing 14 mile of running, including the session. Half an hour on the cross trainer and the S&C. So, that was a tough Tuesday, but it was good. And then Thursday, what did we do? We did reducing 15s. So we were out on the bus route. And what we do is we do 30 seconds of effort. And then the recoveries reduced by 15 seconds each time. So the first recovery is 90 seconds. And then we do 30 seconds effort and then 75 seconds recovery. And we go all the way down to 15 seconds. And then after the next 30 seconds effort, it goes back up to 90 seconds. So it basically reduces each time until it gets to 15 seconds, then goes back up to the top. And the whole session was 4 sets, but I only did 2 sets and then ran through the rest just because things weren't feeling great. Me glute felt like a block of lead and me calf was starting to tighten up. So I thought I'll call it here. I won't push it any further. But yeah, so this week's been all right. It's just I'm just finding everything more difficult than it should be, which is annoying. But we'll get there. We'll get there. But the most exciting thing of this week is a delivery turned up. Yeah, you have. I sent you a photo, didn't I, of them? But
is this from Vinted? Our Vinted watch segment.
Yeah, so this is my purchase from Vinted, which I'm quite excited about because how many times have you seen a pair of these, let alone had them in your hands? And it is a pair of Takumi Zen, well, Adizero Takumi Strung. So they are basically the Takumi Sen, and the midsole and the sole is exactly the same as a Takumi Sen 9, but it's got a strung upper.
Oh, yeah, baby. Do you get the feeling that the person that sold them didn't really know their true value?
I don't know.
Do you think they're worth a lot more than what you paid? Did you pay about
I haven't got
70,
a
80
clue.
quid?
I don't know. I paid 50 quid for them.
That's all right, that. And they look fairly brand new, don't they? They look...
Well, they've hardly been used.
Yeah.
I think they've done a few runs at the most. Yeah. But it does say on the tongue, it does say where you get your sizing and everything. It does say sample on it.
Yeah.
So they are a sample shoe. Adidas never put these into production. So not many of these exist, which is crazy. But yeah, I managed to get my hands on a pair of these. I remember seeing photos of them. Do you know on those Instagram pages where they get leaked photos of shoes that are being produced and things like that? I remember seeing them and thinking, oh man, Takumi strung, that would be incredible. A strung upper on a Takumi Sen midsole. And yeah, I'm looking forward to trying them out and seeing what they're like running. But you can tell they're a sample pair. Number one, because it says sample. Number two, because the inner, like the insole, isn't like a usual Adidas insole. So hang on, let me just grab. So this is my Takumi Zen 9, and obviously it's got a smooth insole which says Adizero on it.
Yeah.
And the other side has got a print on it as well.
Yeah.
But these ones, they're like a furry, like suede texture to the insole, and they're completely blank.
Completely black, like a royal blue sort of colour, aren't they?
Yeah. And then the other difference I've noticed is on this is the only other difference I've noticed, and it's on the continental bit of outsole on the Takumi Zen 9. It's got all of these holes, whereas on the strung there are no holes in the continental bit.
Yeah.
But other than that, they're pretty much exactly the same,
identical, aren't they? Yeah.
Midsole and outsole.
So does that mean they're the same as the Takumi Sen 10s or the 8s or the 9s or what?
So the midsole and the sole and the outsole are exactly the same as the 8s and the 9s, but the 10s are a completely different redesign.
Okay, so the shoe is at least 2 years old then?
Yeah.
You would have thought, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So the next question then, when are you going to wear it?
I don't know, because they're white. And we're now in autumn
nice
where it's always muddy. Yeah.
Yeah, cross country. Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah. I don't know. When it's a nice day. I don't know. Sometime. So, but yeah, I'm quite excited to give them a go.
So that's strung upper then. Have you had the Prime X strungs, or
I
just
haven't,
the normal?
No.
So you've never worn strung Adidas shoes before?
No, but they're pretty light. I'd say they're lighter than the 9.
No way.
So
have you been wearing them around the house or anything?
I did put them on and walk around for a bit in them. When I got them, just to see what they were like. But yeah, I'm interested to give them a go.
But it's like a ball of wool that's just had a bit of glue put onto it.
Nice.
Mad, but there we go. So yeah,
bring them down to the race on Sunday. Bring a drop bag or leave them in the car or something. And I want to see them. I want to see what they're like.
Yeah, we'll do. I need to bring me Prime X as well for you to have a go in them, so you can see what they're
dangerous.
like.
Dangerous though, because we've got the same size feet. So when you're not looking, I might pinch you. But yeah. So yeah. What about after session then? Was that Tuesday session you were talking about?
The hills were, and then Thursday was the bus route.
The road, the bus one,
the road one. Yeah. So I then So finished the session and went back to the gym. Did my cross trainer for half an hour. Did my half an hour of S&C again, and then ran home. So that was what have I done this week so far? Hang on, I have done. So I did in total. I did 11 mile on Monday. I did 14.1 on Tuesday and 11.5 Thursday. So I'm on 36.64 for the week so far.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think I'm ahead of you.
I know, yeah.
In the running the red line mileageometer.
I'm pretty sure you are this week.
For the first time ever in my life. Apart from when I did an ultra, maybe.
What are you hitting this week, mileage?
So my target is for the next 3 weeks, 90k this week, which will consist of 5 or 7 tomorrow, and then 20 Sunday, which would be 10 at the race, maybe 5 warm up and cool down, and then 5 when I get home. What's
90k in miles?
Well, 80s 50 miles, so it's about 56 miles. Does that sound about right?
Okay. Yeah.
And then I'm going to hopefully hit a ton next week, 100. And then the week after, I might go even into the dizzy heights of where I've never been before, 110. So I've never gone above 105, I think. So I think I might try and go to 110. Because we have even decided about I was thinking about branding this, actually. Because we've talked about doing a 20 miler. Well, you said you'd quite very generously give up your Sunday and help me do a session similar to what you did at Fission 20 miler earlier on in the year, where you'll pace me we'll do like a 20 mile, split it into quarters and do like a 20 mile long run of my last Sunday run of peak. So I was thinking we should call it what do you reckon, the Brandy 20 or I can't really think of what else I could call it really. But anyway, we'll think of some brand names. But so I'm quite excited for the next few weeks, and
amazing, wicked.
So you go.
Shall we move on to a little bit of recap from a couple of races, and then we can go into some comments and some emails.
I can't remember what was last week now. So we had York last week, didn't we?
Was York Marathon, which we said about Adam running a 3:18, which was incredible. But we also had Amsterdam Marathon.
Yes, of course.
And I had a few people I knew from B&R and one lad from Alfchurch who all ran Amsterdam. So Lisa Thomas, she didn't have the best of training blocks, but she managed to smash out a 3:14:43, which is fantastic. So really amazing running from Lisa. Richard Banks, he had all sorts of issues during his training block and really didn't have a good training block at all, got injured and has had to run through quite a bad hamstring injury.
Yeah,
but he still went there and ran a 3:10. He ran 3:10:59.
Nice.
So that's amazing. And then Pete Vale, another member of B&R, he ran a 2:46 and 0 seconds, so 2:46 on the nose, which is fantastic. And then Fraser Slade, who is a lad from Alfchurch, he managed to run a PB over in Amsterdam, which was amazing, and he ran a 2:42:52.
Wow.
which is pretty incredible. So amazing work, Fraser. Smashed it out of the park, mate.
Yep. Did you watch the end of the elite race?
I didn't know.
It was the strangest. I would urge you to watch it. It looked very odd, like eyebrow-raisingly weird, because
Okay.
there was a pack of three at the front, and I'm talking. I don't know if you know the course, but you come into the Olympic Stadium, and
Yeah.
you do the 200 on the back straight, and you finish. Just as they were coming into the stadium, the guy who was leading turned off the course, and it was so obvious to not go that way. And a marshal went, no, 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 not this way, and pointed this way, which meant that he went from first position to third. And it was almost as if the guy in front let him take the lead. That's how it looked.
Yeah.
Because the effort levels just look so casual that the guy retook the lead running into the stadium and ended up winning. So
Oh, wow.
I would definitely recommend checking out the elite finish of the men of the 2024 Amsterdam Marathon, because it was a bit weird. It was just
Yes,
an odd finish.
I saw a video on Instagram of the end of a race, which was like that, but I don't know if it was Amsterdam. And a guy's running down the road and follows the bike off the road.
I don't think that was it.
I think it was a completely different race, but it's a straight line to the finish. And there's always a bike, like a lead bike, that takes them through the race.
Right.
The lead bike obviously can't go over the finish line.
Yeah, of course.
Pull off. So
right.
The lead bike pulls off and goes right down a road, and the lead guy follows him down that road, and then the other people come past him.
Oh, that's so strange.
There's some odd things going on at finishes of races, because surely they know what the course is like before they race it.
I'm just going to show you this.
That's bizarre. Yeah, that's bizarre. How easily he just took over him again.
And then he just ends up just going through.
Yeah. He overtook them again so easily.
So, yeah.
That's bizarre. Wow. Okay.
So, yeah, how odd. It's just a really weird finish. And because Rich and I got back from our long run, and he came back to mine, and it was on Eurosport, and we stuck it on, and we just turned it on for that. It was randomly that last 400 meters that we saw, and we were like, is this real? Is this really happening? So but it was a strange end to the elite race, but
yeah interesting.
So,
but do you know of any races other than Redditch and Stratford 10K going on this Sunday? Is there any?
Well, I was going to say good luck to Sam Bauer and Mac.
Yes.
And Louise, who I think are all racing the 10K over in Stratford. So good luck to you guys. What else is there? There's the Dublin Marathon.
Ah, yes.
Dublin. So that is a race that has been on my radar for a long time, and I would really genuinely like to do that. Apparently, it's not an easy course. It's quite a tough, hilly course. But apparently, the support is unparalleled. Apparently, the support is just phenomenal. So we've got our man from the Emerald Isle over there, Ryan Close, who's running it, and he's really excited to run it. And I think he did Belfast in the spring. I think he did. And then he's doing he's following up with Dublin this year. So all the best to you, mate. I hope
best of luck, mate.
I hope you go and smash it. And if I can quickly find his thing, I can tell you what he said about how he wants to run it, but I can't quite find it now. But also we've got Chloe, our Chloe from last week, who's running the Valencia half. So
Yes.
the very, very best of luck to you, Chloe, and thanks so much for giving up your time to come on the podcast last week. Really enjoyed
it. Was amazing. But go out there and smash that sub 88.
Yeah. So I'm sure she will. No, I can't find it here. No. But and then we've got the Snowdonia Marathon as well.
Yes, but that's tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, that's on Saturday. Yeah, but you can't call it Snowdonia Marathon anymore because apparently Snowdonia is not called Snowdonia anymore.
What?
It's
really?
It's called Eryri. Eryri. I think that's how you spell it. Eryri. But Snowdonia is not really called Snowdon's not called Snowdon anymore. It's called Vidra. Yeah, it's all gone traditional Welsh names. Yeah.
When did that happen?
I'm pretty sure. Last few years, I think. I think the Brecon Beacons is also its traditional name now. It's traditional Welsh name now. So I wouldn't attempt to butcher it again in my stupid my idea of what Welsh sounds like. Oh, here's Ryan. He says he wants a 3:45, which he thinks is he would love. He would love a 3:42, but he thinks a 3:45 is his goal. So he's going to go out with a pacer and see what happens. And what I really like is he's got his shorts printed with his kids' names printed on the side of them.
Oh,
so amazing. He's mega excited to don them on Sunday. So all the best, Ryan.
Yeah, best
in Dublin. And hopefully we'll see you out there. But so we've got Tommy D and Mike Rodders that are running the Eryri Snowdonia Marathon tomorrow. Have you seen the elevation?
Yes,
for that race.
It looks ridiculous.
It is nothing short of mental. So there is basically 3 mountains by looks of things to climb. And the third one comes at something heartbreaking like 22 miles or something like that. And it looks horrific. It looks genuinely like you wouldn't even hike up it, let alone run it at the end of a marathon.
So I guess they've been doing all their training on the flat, yeah?
Yeah, they've been doing treadmill only. Just to try and play it safe.
Yeah.
Just to try and make sure they can run to pace on Saturday. Snowdonia Marathon elevation. I'm just going to show you. Here we go. Look at this.
It's horrendous, isn't it?
So that looks absolutely. So what I'm showing, if anyone is listening to this, is 3 or 2 definite spikes in the graph. And there's one in the middle that you could do without as well. So you basically start off and then you go up at 3 miles. The climb begins until 5. And you climb 250 meters, which is a lot. And then you come back down a really quite steep hill for what looks like 3 miles. And then it goes you got a nice gradient downhill and then till about halfway. Then you go up halfway, half of what you've climbed. Then you come back down that until, the relative safety. You think, that's the worst of it done. 22 miles, bang. Look at that bad boy. That is mental to finish a marathon on that. And then you've got the hard downhill for that last mile.
Yeah, just when your legs aren't working properly, you've got to run downhill.
I really genuinely hope, I can see why they put it on a Saturday now. Because no one would be going to work on a Monday instead only, would they?
No.
So if you are doing that race, go and say hello to Tommy D and Mike Rodders. You'll see them in their Try Hard Harriers vests, I'm sure.
Yeah,
and
best of luck.
Yeah, because by the sounds of things, you're going to need it.
You need it.
So that looks a lot of fun. So maybe one day you and I could have a go at it, but then again, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not.
We'll stick to the Redditch Kingfisher 10K on Sunday. I'll stick to Valencia, thanks, for the elevation of 76 meters. So I think that's. I wanted to mention someone else who we didn't mention as well. 2 weeks ago, ran the Oxford Half Marathon. I want to say well done to Chris. So
Yeah,
Chris
yes.
Moore ran the Oxford Half, and he ran a really good, solid training block on the way up to it. Never run a half before.
Yeah, it was his first ever half. So yeah, amazing work, Chris.
And it looks like he chose a good race to run his first half at. So
Yeah.
So yeah, do you remember your first half? Did you do your first half as part of training, or did you do a race as your first half?
No, I think my first ever half marathon properly was Birmingham Half
Was
in
it?
2012,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, 2012. Just after I'd done London Marathon, I think.
Right.
Yeah. That was my first ever proper half race. But I mean, building up to my first ever marathon, I'd only ever run 13 miles as my longest ever run before I got injured. So
right.
yeah. So my first proper half. Yeah, I do remember it back in 2012. Yeah, back
Here's
when
a question.
back when they had the lovely hills at the end of the Birmingham Half, where you went up hill
I
to
only
the top of
remember
Broad Street.
Yeah, I don't remember that because I only did the second course, which I think they only did a year or two, which was by Matthew Bolton College. The finish was out there.
Yeah.
You had to run past Moore Street in the bull ring, which was a bit nasty because that hill's quite sheer, isn't it?
Yeah, but this one, it used to finish on the bottom of Broad Street where it starts now. It
Yeah.
used to finish there. So to get up to the top of Broad Street, you used to go up a hill, and it used to go up a steep hill, turn right, go up a steep hill, turn left, go up a steep hill, and then you're on the top of Broad Street.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
Because you don't realise, especially when you've sort of grown up around here, I've never really realised until I've started running how hilly Brum is.
Yeah.
Because I've only ever really driven around it until I've started running around it. It's like, Jesus Christ, some of those hills around Bourneville and stuff are quite quite naughty, aren't they? Here's a quick question then. So what do you think the biggest, when you think about when you were first getting started, what do you think the biggest step up is from 5K to 10, from 10 to half, or half to marathon, and why?
What's the biggest step up? I think it's got to be the step up from half to marathon, because just completing the marathon distance, no matter what time you do, is a complete achievement. It's a whole different beast. Everything up to half marathon is doable, but a marathon, if you've ever conquered the marathon, you've conquered an absolute beast.
I mean, that's probably what most people would say, but for me, I couldn't get to 10K for months. Well, it felt like months. I got to 5K and I just couldn't seem to crack, because back then I was in miles. Back in my my younger, more
when you were more sensible,
when I was easily when I couldn't think for myself,
when you actually had your head screwed on. Yeah.
And I couldn't get beyond 5 miles. Like, I literally couldn't do it. I had to get a lift home, or I had to just walk it out. I remember just getting to 3 miles, and that was my marathon. Doing a 5K was my marathon. And then I remember feeling so proud around about lockdown that I've finally been able to run for half an hour or whatever it was without stopping. And then I remember just thinking, how am I going to run for an hour? The same thing you think when you do half marathon. You think, I could never do a marathon. Like, I could literally never do it. And then all of a sudden you do one, you think, oh, I think I might try and sign up for another one now. But like, I just remember vividly not being able to get to 10K. It took me what felt like weeks and months to build up to beyond to 10K and beyond. But it's weird, isn't it? Because for me, the reason it's because I was obviously at the start of my sort of running and fitness journey, which is maybe why I didn't find the difference from half to marathon as brutal as the 5 to 10. But it's funny, isn't it? Because the marathon is obviously 26.2 miles, but your marathon could be any distance you want it to be. Your marathon could be a 5K. It's it's whatever distance or whatever challenge that you can't ever seem to be able to finish, that one day you will be able to do it. And the marathon doesn't have to be 26 miles. For some people, they won't ever run a 26 miler. Their marathon might be just to get to 10K or you know. So, but yeah. So yeah, I remember just really struggling to get up to 10K, but yeah, good times.
Yeah, the problem is the first ever race I signed up for was a marathon, so I'd sort of given myself a stupid challenge before I'd even attempted to do anything.
That's madness. First ever race. I would say if you've like for example, being in Chris's position, he's just in his first half. I think it would be natural to want to try and go for a marathon next, which is, totally understandable. But I remember doing my first half marathon and just thinking, okay, I want to get better at this distance.
Yeah, get more comfortable at that distance before you move up to the next one.
And start to be able to enjoy half marathons, because I know, I'm pretty confident you think the same. Half marathon is, I'd say, undefeated, really. I don't think I enjoy distance anywhere as much as I enjoy a half marathon.
Oh yeah, it's my favorite distance as well.
I absolutely love a half. I think it's brilliant. And so for me, I remember just doing my first half and thinking, I wasn't even, because I was thinking a marathon is just not even part of my thoughts right now. I just want to get better at this distance because I'm nowhere near a marathon. And so that's the way I did it. And I'm quite glad I went down that road.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Right. Let's get on to some comments, because I am conscious of time.
Yep.
So we need to go back quite a bit, actually. First one is from Mark G from episode 36, Ill Communication. He's put, sounding a tiny bit croaky there, Brett. Hopefully you're getting over the dreaded C word now. Yeah, I'm almost there. Thanks, Mark. And then next one is from episode 37, which was your Cardiff half recap.
Yep.
And the first comment's from Mac, friend of the podcast, Mac.
Friend of the podcast, Mac.
Who says, cheers for the Sunday long run company, as always. Huge moves by Andy in Cardiff. Hope you feel better soon, Brett. Thanks, dude. But yeah, some huge moves from you. Yet another PB for the year. Then we have a comment from Michael Ager, who said, cheers for the shout out. I heard my name. Cheers, guys. Appreciate it. So, yeah, no worries, Michael. Then we have another one from Run Like a T-Rex, which is David. And he said, great pod, guys. Glad to hear you're on the men's slowly but surely, Brett. I thought you were just cosplaying as Andy's Barry White impression. Pleased to say I finally broke 50 minutes for the 10K at the Massey Draco 10 kilometers with a 105 PB from June, crossing the line in 49 minutes and 45 seconds.
Oh,
so
what a lad.
Amazing work, Dave. That's incredible.
Amazing. Good lad.
Next stop, marathon training for Manchester in April. Awesome. Any recommendations for shoes for a first marathon? Something comfy, or would a super shoe be useful for someone aiming for 3:45 to 4:15? Any tips appreciated?
Well, yeah, I guess you need to have a rotation. I mean, I'm sounding like first world problems here, but because maybe you can only afford, or you only want one or maybe two shoes. But first thing I would do is get a couple of different shoes on board, and decide what feels good at what pace. Get a plan together of how you want to run the marathon, and then maybe start to think about what you want to put on your feet. Because if you want to go for, if you want to think about a sub 4, for example, then yeah, super shoes are definitely the way to go. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But you might just want to just get round and maybe you just want to not even maybe not even take your watch with you, and you just want to just literally start the race, enjoy it, and finish it happy and healthy. In which case, I'd recommend maybe a max stack comfort shoe, like I don't know, like an Invincible. I don't know if Invincible 3 would be a good shout, but maybe a Saucony Endorphin Pro Speed 4 would be good, or a Pro 4 maybe, because that's carbon plated. There's a couple of Asics offerings as well.
Yeah. Or think something like a Super Blast or something like that.
Yeah, a Super Blast would be, because that's a really good. Apparently, that's a really good do-it-all shoe as well. So Asics Super Blast, could be a good shout.
He does say he's aiming for 345 to 415, so somewhere in there.
Nice.
What I will say is, there's no reason why you shouldn't be using a super shoe. It's going to help you at any pace, really. But what I will say is super shoes aren't particularly comfy after a long period of running. So when you are getting up to that over 4 hours into the 4.5 hour territory, super shoes might not be the best choice, because they can get quite uncomfortable on foot. They are made to be aggressive, to make you propel forward quicker. And therefore something like a Super Blast or a high stack comfort mileage shoe might be a better choice. It's all on how you want to feel during the race. Do you want to feel that aggressive propulsion of a super shoe that's going to push you forward to that PB, or do you want to do your first ever marathon in comfort and get to the finish line feeling slightly better than if you've had carbon pushing you forward for the whole race? So possibly, if you're going to go for a super shoe, go for one of the more comfortable, smooth super shoes and not the aggressive ones.
Don't go for that Mizuno one like Kieran wears. Because that's probably not going to be a very Achilles friendly shoe for a marathon. But you never know, it could vibe with you. I don't know. But one thing I would recommend, Dave, get yourself booked in for Warwick the half, or Stafford half, or something along the way, and do a tune-up race. So do something that will simulate the race day experience for you on race day, wearing those shoes, so you can run at that pace. That's not that's not running around your local route. So I'd definitely recommend running a race wearing the shoes you're going to wear. If you want to keep them fresh, then only wear them, for that 13 miles, or maybe maybe your 20-mile long run or something like that. But I would definitely look at booking a race and wearing said shoes if you're going to take a gamble on some new shoes. But the internet is a cracking place.
It is.
For confirmation bias. So when you have got an idea of something you want, the internet and YouTube is exactly the place for you. So shoe review at some shoe tubers me and Brett love. You can look at Ed Budd. He's my go-to guy, really, for shoe reviewing. He's tested a lot of good shoes.
I agree. I do go for his reviews quite a lot, but sometimes I do disagree with with his opinions. But that's obviously because I'm a Adidas guy, and he loves some Adidas shoes and then gives some Adidas shoes a real bad review, and I've disagreed with some of them because he's given a bad review to shoes which I've really enjoyed. So that's the thing with shoes. It's very personal, and people can really like a shoe that you hate.
And there could be a case of, you're listening to, this is not sounding like a witch hunt or anything, but take, for example, the FOD runner, quite a fast runner. He's like a 2:40 marathoner or a 2:45 marathoner. If he's giving you a shoe review, you might think, well, hang on a minute, I don't run marathons at 2:40. So he's probably getting something different out of a shoe than I would.
Yeah. So
if you can, maybe try and just take certain things with a pinch of salt, and so think about people that run your pace who are also reviewing your shoes, like Fordy, for example. You might, he might be more, slightly.
I tell you who's really good at shoe reviews. Believe in the Run. I don't know if you watch their
from from America.
Yeah, I really enjoy watching their shoe reviews. And they're not stupidly quick marathon runners. I mean,
Okay.
they've run good marathon times, but they're
Yep.
not super fast sub-3 guys that are giving shoe reviews. They're guys who are running in just like the mid 3 hours, and they're giving shoe reviews on that. And I know the one guy, I can't remember what's his name, the main guy, because there's Norm and come on, what's his name? Anyway, he paced Aubrey at
yes.
What race did they do?
Berlin. Is he called Tommy? He's not called Tommy, is he?
Yeah, Thomas. Yeah, Thomas. That's
Thomas. Yeah.
Thank you. I knew it was there in my head somewhere. He paced Aubrey, and he on a review of the Evo SL recently, he said he wished he'd have run Berlin in the Evo SL because the Adios Pro 4 were overkill for the pace he was running.
Okay. Right, fair enough.
And he would have had a better time and enjoyed it more by running in the the Evo SL than he would have wearing the carbon-plated shoes.
So this is that new shoe that's going to come out via ballot, but it's going on to general release in January. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a convoluted answer to your question, Dave. The answer is we don't know, mate. The answer is all the best.
The answer is whatever you feel most comfortable in, because shoes are a very personal choice, and just because one person really likes them and gets on with them doesn't mean you are going to.
No. But yeah, and it's your money at the end of the day, so you've got to be wise with how you spend it. So but good, great comment, and all the best to Manchester, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Next one is from Mark G again, and he said, I had a rare thought while listening to this one. You mentioned a couple of races that had sold out before you had the option of signing up, Cardiff Half and the Copenhagen Marathon. Do you think this is part of a trend with more people wanting to sign up to races and it being more and more difficult to get a place?
It is noticeable, isn't it? Over the last few, I'd say 6 months or so, the boom of people that want to run races. It really, I mean, look at the London Marathon ballot. When we were early in our podcast days, I remember doing we realised it was was it nearly 1 million people in the ballot?
850,000 people.
Going for about 5,000 places or something like that. So, I mean, it's brilliant on one hand that so many people want to move their body in the way that we love to move ours. And, we've got to be careful about getting too protective over it, because at the end of the day, we talk about running. Obviously, we're all about celebrating it in any shape or form. But yeah, I think as long as can you hear my chair squeaking, by the way? Sorry, I need to get the WD-40 out.
Yeah.
I think as long as you're signing up for the right reasons, we've got no problem with that.
Yeah.
No matter what your pace, no matter what your shape or size, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But I think if you're coming at it from I could make a really good YouTube video here. That's where people start to get a little bit, a bit annoying, because you see so many YouTubers now who are getting given a place from, I don't know, some brand who have sponsored them to run a race. You think, well, you've never obviously run in your life, have you? And here you are doing a race. And it's the same with, content is so easy these days.
I've said it before, but I can't stand the videos where it says, I run a marathon with no training. Well, you're a dickhead then.
Oh, yeah, what's that for? You're an idiot. Well done.
Yeah,
that would have made a good video 14 years ago. 4,200 million videos before you that have done it. But now everyone's doing it. So what's the point?
Yeah. And also, if you're going to go and run a marathon with no training, well, it's going to hurt and you deserve it.
Yeah. What's the... Yeah, that's a stupid idea.
What are you proving to anyone? You're proving that you're not not all there.
And you probably won't do a race after that again, or you probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I think to a lot of people, a marathon especially is a bucket list item, which is totally plausible, which is totally okay, because it is.
Yeah.
Some people would put it on the same pedestal as climbing Everest, or, you know, crazy things that you think were never ever possible. But now a marathon has never been more easy to complete, with super shoes, with kit, with training and supplements, and you know, it's crazy how many people are uptaking it. It is noticeable.
Yeah. It's it's an interesting one. I don't know if maybe we'll find out in the next couple of years whether it drops off or whether it continues to get busier and busier.
I can't believe that Cardiff sold out 24 hours. Cardiff, we're not even talking about London Marathon here. Copenhagen did. Well, Copenhagen, maybe you could argue, is slightly different. I don't know, because it's an international half marathon, but no more or less international than Cardiff, because it's part of that same super half brand. But crazy, absolutely crazy that it sold out within 12 hours or whatever it was. What was Copenhagen? 8 hours?
I don't know, something like that. Yeah, it was mad. Yeah.
Because since Mark will have written this, Copenhagen half broke the record for selling out. So obviously Copenhagen Marathon sold out. Now the half has as well.
Yeah. And we actually had an email from Ryan about that, didn't we? Have you got the emails up?
Yeah. So he said, I think he titled it "Controversial Email from Ryan Baker," as AKA half of Rayleigh's Adventures.
Yeah.
This may be controversial. Hi. I recently noticed that Copenhagen half sold out in a record-breaking time, 2 hours and 20 minutes, which is amazing for the sport. I wasn't set to enter this, but I have heard that people could purchase up to 5 entries per person. That surely isn't a fair system, and are actively promoting a resale platform for tickets in November. What are your thoughts on this, as it's quite a large-scale event? Well, that's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, there's an official resale platform for entries into it, and they were allowing people to buy 5 entries per person. That's just like ticket touts for gigs.
Well, who needs 5 entries to a half marathon?
Well, exactly, no one. So they're buying them so they can resell them at a higher price on that resale platform.
Because obviously they get fees from that, you know. Well, they can charge fees.
They can charge a higher price because people want the places. So it's like ticket touts buying tickets for gigs. They'll buy all of the tickets so it sells out, and then resell them to people who want them for a higher price.
But that's what I'm saying. If the touts then go on this resale platform, Copenhagen half marathon, because they'll probably say you can only do it through our platform, will obviously take a buyer's fee or a seller's fee.
Oh, possibly, yeah.
So that's their incentive, I guess.
Yeah.
Because why on earth would anybody need to buy more than 1 entry?
Unless they're buying it for their group of people that they're buying it for. But if the group are buying it, then why wouldn't they individually buy their entries?
It's so badly against health and safety as well, because when you sign up, you should be sort of not signing a declaration saying you're fit to run, but that they're obviously not keeping tabs on who's signing up.
Yeah,
they don't care.
Yeah,
so
it's becoming a ticket for an event rather than a ticket to push yourself physically.
Yeah, and it's a shame because it's people like us who will have to. Hello, Daisy. How did you get in here? Daisy's jumped in my room. Did you do that on purpose? You let her in. Daisy's here. Daisy, you have to go, mate. I think Daisy's trying to sabotage the podcast. So yeah, I think it's bad.
It's a bit naughty, isn't it?
You can come in. Laura's trying to get. It's a bit. You're not.
Did it? It's like that BBC News thing
It's
where
just like,
toddler came in and then the.
Hello. There you go. Right, bye. So so it's mad, isn't it? How people are able to do that in this day and age, because that's not cricket, is it?
No, it's not good at all. But yeah, there we go. Right. Next comments from Owen Casey. and he says you need to get Matt Runs 18 on the podcast. So
that'd be a good shout. Yeah,
another suggestion for a guest. We'll
Matty Haslam. Yeah, good runner.
Yeah, we'll have to take some of these into consideration for sure.
Matt, just quickly on Matt, right? So Matt, if anyone doesn't know Matt, he's got his own YouTube channel. Matt Runs 18, I think his thing is. He has been, for one reason or another, I think he's sort of over the summer not been running as hard as he would like to, or maybe not even running at all. I'm not quite sure. But recently he's been really, really back on the horse. And I've never known anyone who gets so into it than him. He just throws everything at it. So much so that he was doing like interval workouts at like 3 a.m. before he goes out to work in the pitch black around the streets of Manchester. So, and then he did a 5K time trial and he got well under his sub 20, which he really wanted to do. So yeah, we'd love to have a chat with you one day, Matt, if you're up for it.
Yeah, amazing. Then another from Owen Casey, and he says, lads, regarding European marathons, you have to run the Dublin Marathon someday.
Yes.
The support is amazing for the full 42 kilometres. The Welsh runner has a great video from the time he ran it.
Yeah, so, I've seen that.
I'll need to check that out. I haven't seen that one. Yeah.
He did that on his lead up to Valencia last year, I think. And
okay.
I think he just went and casually ran a 2:29 or something like that. So yeah.
Madness. Yeah. Then comment from Christopher Hayden. And he says, great episode. First time running Ulster for me and my wife. And we both got PBs. Not content with that. We both did PBs at our club race at the Dracote Water the week after.
Yes, get in.
Amazing. Question is, can we both make it a PB hat trick at the Stratford 10K next weekend?
Oh, so best of luck. I hope you do.
See. Yes, best of luck for that. And then well done on Cardiff, Andy. You've inspired us to sign up for it with a video. So they are in for Cardiff next year.
Yes, amazing.
And hope you feel better soon, Brett. Not long had COVID myself. So, yeah, hope you are 100% fit and well now, Chris. But, yeah, that's amazing. Let's see. Fingers crossed for Stratford, which I guess is this weekend's Stratford 10K.
Yeah. Look.
Then from our latest episode with Chloe, we got a comment from Ben CXCI, who said, fantastic episode. Thanks for that, Ben. Grumpy Gary 999, which I'm guessing is Gary Manders, who has changed his username. He said, get a team together and run the 24-hour event. I ran the Continental Thunder Run 24-hour 3 years ago, running in a team of 4 relay. Summer 2019, the last time. Brilliant event. I ran 4 times 10 kilometers in a 24-hour period, running on a wooded trail course in the middle of the night with only a head torch for light with hundreds of other runners on course is something you will never forget.
Sounds
You'll be shattered. You'll be shattered from almost no sleep for 24 hours, but you won't have a better laugh as a runner. Just to add, the winner of the solo event are normally coming in at around 150 to 160 kilometers for 24 hours.
Wow. God, imagine doing 100 miles of laps.
Oh, no.
That's mega.
Yeah, mental. But there we go. Then, so that could be something we look to in the future. You never know, mate. 24-hour run. So then we had a comment from Chloe herself, who said, thanks for having me on the pod, guys. Enjoyed the chat. So did we, Chloe. It was amazing to have you on.
Yeah, it was wicked.
Really, really good. Then comment from Saint Sayans 21, I think it is. I don't know. But it says, interesting and entertaining fast runner. Will definitely be subscribing. Yes, definitely go over to Chloe's channel and subscribe, especially as she is running Valencia half this weekend. So we will see in her future videos how she got on.
Yep.
Then comment from Nick PK4SQ, who said, really enjoyed listening to the two of you and Chloe whilst running the Maidstone half this morning. 1:36:44, which is a 6-minute knocked off my PB.
Amazing.
So the podcast clearly gave me a spring in my step.
Yes.
That is amazing. But what that means is you still had about 20 minutes of the podcast to listen to when you finished.
Hopefully you did a cool down, a warm down. Sorry.
Yeah, that is amazing, Nick. Great work. 6 minutes knocked off your PB over the half is brilliant. And to do it while listening to us two drawl on is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Then comment from Kieran Turner, who said, cheers for the company on the Sunday long run, fellas. A great listen as always. Cheers, Kieran. Rob Scott said, Andy, to crush 42 minutes for a 10K, you'll need 3 things. Number 1, a great bank of training. Number 2, a positive mental attitude. And number 3, a pair of Takumis. And he says, you've got all 3, so I reckon you'll have no problem.
Thanks for your faith in me. Looking forward to Sunday.
Yeah, cheers, Rob. And then last comment is from friend of the podcast, Mac, who said, my YouTube world's colliding. Great to see Chloe on here. Yeah, it was definitely great. Thanks for that, Mac. But yeah, that is all of our comments. So do you think we should leave the emails till next week?
Yes.
Move swiftly onto the Strava segment.
Yes, we have got some emails to read in, but if you do want to email in, please do. We are running the redlinepod@gmail.com, I think. Is that right?
Yes,
yeah, that is
correct.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. We'll probably get round to reading it out in 2026.
Yeah, because we're too busy talking about nonsense to get round to the emails and the questions.
But please do write in.
Yeah, please do get in touch. We will get to them, I promise. But yeah, let's, because I am conscious of time, let's get onto the Strava segment for last week's leaderboard. So last week, our leader of distance was Andrew Heppel, who ran 73 miles on the nose for
a new leader.
Week. Yes,
that's a new name, I think. Yeah, nice. Well done, mate.
And then second was Jack Bancroft, who did 72.7 miles. And then third was Michael Roderick, who did 68 miles on the nose. Our climbing leaders, in first was John Braz, who did 5,787 foot of climbing. Second was Stephen Smith with 4,295 foot. And third was James Slade with 4,186 foot. So some pretty impressive numbers there. And then I just need to go through to find our top 3 ladies. So let me have a look and see if I can find them. Our top lady was D. Cook Rees, once again, with 49.6 miles. Second was Charlotte Taylor with 47.3 miles. And third was Lisa Thomas, who, including her Amsterdam marathon, ran 41.1 miles. So
amazing.
Well done to everyone who I have just mentioned. Yeah, if you want to be featured on our leaderboard, possibly, then yeah, please do go and join our Strava club, running the red line. And you never know, we may be reading out your name in the future.
Just do Snowdonia Marathon. You should be fine. There's about 15,000 foot in the first hill.
Yeah, I know, man. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what they do on next week's Strava segment. So you'll see. But best of luck to everybody who is racing wherever you are racing this weekend. And I think we are done for this week. We shall leave it there. So yeah, thank you so much to everybody for watching or listening, and we shall see you again next week. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. I'm off to find my drone.